introduce myself. I'm Michelle Brown, Principal and CEO of Into Action Coaching. We are a New Jersey-based career coaching, executive coaching, and talent management agency. And my cohort, Amber Lee Forrester, who is usually partnering with me on these webinars, is en route to Morocco, celebrating Mother's Day with family and friends. So I will be flying solo. And I've asked those of you who joined us earlier to post in the chat sort of what brought you to today's conversation and where might you be in terms of your career. Are you looking to get promoted? Are you in transition? You may be looking to go from being gainfully employed to starting your own business, just so that I can have a gauge to where you are. The other housekeeping tip that I'll make reference to is, I think we're going to have a pretty small group, which will really allow us to be quite informal. So I'm going to start off by just sharing a couple of slides that I put together to kind of provide content and context. But throughout my conversation and my review of these slides, if you've got questions or comments, please, you can unmute yourself, speak up, or certainly I'll, to the best of my ability, capture what you may put in the chat. I'm used to having Amber as a co-host, so I will be the live personality and the producer all at the same time. All right, let me.
You got this.
Yeah. Okay, let me find, here we go. All right, let me know when you can see my slides.
Yep.
Can see them? Okay. And it's interesting because when this is up, I've got to still, let me see if I can. I've got to be able to maneuver so that I can still see if people are entering. Okay. All right, so let me just back up. So what we have been focused in on for this quarter is living, your life on purpose. And as professionals, it's become even more essential for us to recognize sort of what our purpose and what our passion is, because, as we progress through life, the fulfillment and the level of satisfaction that we are more apt to achieve is when we're kind of aligned with whatever our purpose may be. So when we think about the trajectory of our career, hang on, this is just, when we think about the trajectory of our career, the perception is that there's kind of a forward pointing straight line to kind of where we are and ultimately where we want to be. But that's a misperception. The reality is that, it's a lot of twists and turns and pauses and slumps because there's really no straight line in terms of the choices that we make, the opportunities, and even the obstacles that we're often faced with throughout the course of our career. So we're going to be focusing in on sort of what I call the 3 C's in an effort to identify sort of what your purpose and your passion is. And the first is to clarify. Many of us, either now or in the past, have grappled and have had a lot of ambiguity around, well, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? What is my purpose? I may have a position, I may have a job, but it's not anchored to what my God-given gifts, talents, and skills and abilities might be. So I want to aid us as best we can to sort of, create some clarity around that. The other is to conquer. I'll talk about that. It's, oftentimes what inhibits us from moving forward. If we're in a challenging situation, it's because we haven't really conquered our fears or even identified what our limiting beliefs might be that impede our ability to get from where we are to ultimately where we want to be. And then the third is commitment. This is a bumpy road. It's a lot of stop and starts. And as long as we maintain some semblance of perseverance and resiliency, we're more apt to sort of achieve that. So I love this quote. Parker Palmer is an author and a consultant. And it says, before I can tell my life what I want to do with it, I must listen to my life telling me who I am. I mean, that really resonates. So often, you know, the choices and decisions that we make are really kind of steeped into what we're told we should do, or based on industry statistics, you know, where we think we're going to make the greatest amount of money, or what burgeoning industry is something that, you know, we should embark on. But ultimately, when we listen internally to what our life is telling us, we have a better chance of being successful and fulfilled. Bear with me, I'm just still, there may be, oh, good. Okay, I'm still letting people in. Welcome. All right, we've started, and I'm sure you guys will kind of keep up with the flow. I'll pause for a moment and ask those who have just joined us to put in the chat, you know, what brought you to today's conversation? What is it that you are in need of? Okay. Okay, so, you know, this is more challenging than I thought. So in terms of, bear with me. Oh, there we go. Okay, just have to move this aside. So in terms of gaining clarity, I'm going to let all of this populate. There we go. Okay, I think that's it. So when we are seeking clarity around our purpose and our passion, there's a number of steps that we can follow to gain that clarity. The first one is retrace your steps. And what I mean by that is, you know, when we're little, when we're small, and our imaginations are wide, and we don't have the limiting beliefs and the doubts and the fears and the naysayers kind of, you know, telling us what we shouldn't do or who we shouldn't be. That is when life is really open to us. And so with wherever you or we may be at this crossroads, retracing our steps to those younger years, usually our life was telling us who we were just by nature of the games we played, or the visions that we had, who I wanted to be when I grew up. So oftentimes when we take the opportunity to simply pause and reflect,